Welcome friends to another r/malicious compliance video. As always, if you enjoy this video, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And our first story of the day is by Ancient Educator 76. You need to change this right now. I'd be happy to. I teach in Arizona, home of one of the most underrated education systems in America. In my humble opinion, I think we really do great work here. It's the end of the marking period, and my school has a US standard A, B, C, D, or F grading system. I teach an algebra class to 8th graders, a year ahead in our parts, who are either smart enough or their parents want them to be smart enough. Parents are allowed an opt-in, it's the law. As we come to the end of the year and I'm posting grades, I'm reminded of this time last year when I got to serve up some compliance that was as delicious as it was malicious. I had a parent of one young buck actually come up to me in person while I was on after-school duty to discuss an issue he had with grading. For all the teachers out there, I'm feeling the wave of FERPA violation coming over you. Yes, this is true, and I told him I can't discuss grades in a public setting. I didn't get to the word setting entirely before he interrupts and says, "BS, we're at school, this is my kid. I'm the one giving permission here, so let me ask you." I'm thinking to myself, been doing that a lot lately. Great, I guess we're doing this while I'm directing traffic. I then realize the issue of safety, so I'm like, "Sir, I need to direct and then he continues talking utter nonsense. I could only imagine I wasn't really listening at this point. While I'm looking down the road for more cars to wave down to pick up, he's just going and going. I hear a word or two like, "You said," and "He's already turned in that." And finally, as I get to a lull and look at him, he says to me, "And there is no way that you can fail my child," and put the comment, "Pleasure to have in class. You need to change this right now." Enter the light bulb of malicious compliance. That's my third light bulb reference today, by the way. The lull was about to pick back up when I say, "You make a good point. I don't know what I was thinking. I'll change it the second I'm done here." Which is actually possible because I always have my iPad on me pretty much at all times. My wife gets jealous. The Karen of a dad walked off back to his parked car with his child visible and looking at me from the passenger side. And I swear he actually said, "That's what I thought," which, if you're unfamiliar, is the thing said to you when you've lost an argument that could have been a fight because you've chickened out. Not responding to this is conceding defeat, usually. As the dad finishes his little strut to his car, I give the kid a thumbs up a la Bloodsport. Just Google, "Okay USA," definitely a laugh. And the kid slowly gives me a sheepish thumbs up back. Hilarious. The kid seems to somehow know what the dad doesn't. The second I get to a secure, private location, I go into the gradebooks and change the comment from "pleasure to have in class" to "respectful to teachers and staff," which is more than I can say for this kid's dad. Needless to say, he still got an F. Deserved. And yes, I made this change on the toilet. Although it was added in as a punchline, I genuinely think some of the best thinking comes from when you're in the bathroom. Do you guys agree with me that some of the best thinking, whether it's thinking through things, deciding on things, whatnot, can come from the time that you're in the bathroom? Let me know in the comments down below. This next story is by Sheet Mask Wine Baking. Shut down my bakery, you say? Sure. Sequel to exactly 1 pound, you say? Sure. Firstly, a little recap. I'm a law student, graduating in less than a week actually. I run a part-time bakery from my home kitchen because it helps me de-stress in between the work, and I donate all the proceeds to my charity, so it's also a way of raising funds. Mine is the only bakery in my entire locality, so it became super popular amongst the families in my area super fast, and everyone especially loves my tart cakes. Last month, this one lady demanded 1 pound of this tart cake for the 1 pound price. No more, no less. So I gave her exactly that. And she was not happy, and she vowed she would never buy from me again and make sure to tell everyone she knew not to either. For the sake of convenience, I'll refer to her as Entitled Woman going forward. Just a few days after this incident, I got infected with you-know-what. Thankfully, it wasn't a severe case, but my pre-existing health conditions did not help, and at least for a week in there, I couldn't even sit up in bed. It just wrecks your body completely. I'm still barely recovering. During that week, on one of the days when I had just a teensy bit more energy, I made one post on my Instagram blog about these breads that I baked before I tested positive, and my caption explicitly mentioned that I tested positive, that this was made before I went into quarantine. Entitled Woman saw that post on Instagram, and I guess she didn't bother reading my caption. She repeatedly called me that day, constantly disturbing me and my rest till I gave in and picked up her call. Completely casual, no acknowledgement of our previous disagreement, and her staunch vow to never support my business, she just went straight into it. "Hello, yeah, I saw your photo of those breads on Instagram and they look really nice. I want a basket of it tomorrow morning." I told her that I'm sick and quarantined, but also, I thought she was never going to buy from me again? She just laughed and said, No, those are just things one says. Please make those breads and send them over by tomorrow morning." So I told her again that I'm sick with a highly contagious and deadly virus. I'm not taking any orders right now. I heard her rant about today's generation as I hung up on her. She called me thrice over the period of my quarantine, each time for a different dish, and each time the conversation went the same. Apparently, she was okay with me making them because she has antibodies, but I'm sick and incapable of getting out of bed, let alone bake. Like I also mentioned, I'm graduating. I have a lot of assignments and exams ongoing, and they sort of piled up because I couldn't do anything for almost 3 weeks. On top of that, I'm also recovering and it's not been easy. So I sent out a broadcast message saying I won't be taking any orders for May. Any baking I've done the last few days has just been stress busters and easy stuff that does not require a lot of effort. On Sunday, I made a baked eggless cheesecake, something I've had on my to-do list for the longest time, and made a very excited post about it on my blog because it came out perfectly. The post was barely up, an Entitled Woman called me. Sigh. I respond because it's just too much of a hassle to ignore her at this point. She says, "Child, I saw this mango cake type thing just now on Instagram. Can you make 1 pound?" Yeah, she's still hung up on the 1 pound. "Of that and 4 loaves of freshly baked bread for tomorrow? I want them by 8 a.m., just in time for breakfast." And I'm just gobsmacked because, firstly, I don't take orders on such short notice. I need at least 48 hours so I can plan and prepare accordingly. Secondly, 4 loaves of bread by 8 in the morning means I would have to make them all night long, which I'm definitely not doing. This is a part-time home bakery, not a bread factory. Third, she knows I'm not taking orders right now. So I told her all of this, and boy, she was upset. She started ranting about how unprofessional I am, how she's tried so many times to place orders with me, but I'm highly irresponsible and losing out on so many orders, and then ended it all with, "If you don't know how to run a bakery, then close it and go back to doing whatever you were doing before." Here's the thing, I'll officially be a lawyer in July. I knew when I started this wasn't a long-term thing. After I graduate, I'll barely have time to bake. Forget baking professionally. I was initially planning on doing this while I was still unemployed, but I figured I can dedicate a month or so to just the job hunt. So I sent out another broadcast message stating that XYZ Bakery will officially be closing after June, and I will no longer be taking orders due to some recent negative feedback. One of my regular clients called me and wanted to express how sorry she was to hear and wanted the whole story. So I told her everything Entitled Woman told me that day about being unprofessional and that I should shut down my bakery. My culture likes to infantilize my generation, and I played my part of the sweet young kid who was scolded by an older woman and had obviously taken the scolding to heart, because kids should always respect their elders. What I didn't know was that my regular and Entitled Woman are sister-in-laws. They're both married to 2 brothers and live next door to each other. My regular complained to their mother-in-law about Entitled Woman's behavior, and mother-in-law berated her heavily for behaving so rudely with a child. I'm 23, but as long as it works for me, and she should have more maturity as the adult. So today, I got a call from Entitled Woman with what is the typical adult way of apologizing. "Child, why are you taking my words to heart? These are just things one says. I was only trying to help you be more professional and prepare you for the outside world. Don't close your bakery." I replied to her in a really innocent tone. "No, Auntie, you were absolutely right. I shouldn't be baking. I should go back to law and focus on finding a job. I'll do that. I won't take any more orders after June. My mom's friend, who basically runs the gossip channel of the neighborhood, told Mom that entitled woman is being blamed by all the ladies for shutting down the only bakery in our area, and she's no longer invited to their weekly Zoom Timbola evenings. This is just kind of one of those moments where everything falls perfectly in place, where you were going to do one thing anyways the entire time, but it conveniently became kind of a weapon or tool of sorts to make somebody else feel bad for, well, kind of harassing you, or at least definitely putting you down too much. This next story is by Pyrologist. You can get one car. Okay. My son had just turned 3 and had a visit to the dentist. I told him beforehand that if he listened to the dentist and was a good boy, we would go to the Blue store afterwards and get him a Hot Wheels car. They had a big bin of Hot Wheels for 99 cents each at the time. My son is a rock star, opposite of his behavior at home most days. He was attentive, did everything the dentist asked, and was the talk of the office when it came to leave. I was so proud and excited to take him to Walmart on the way home for his prize. We get to the store and I reiterate, "Okay, bud, go pick your favorite one and remember, you can get one car." "Okay, daddy," and he makes his way to the bin. 5 minutes later, this snozzberry comes up to me with 3 Hot Wheels packages. I laugh and tell him that the deal was for one car. He smiles the biggest poop-eating grin he can muster and puts each package down like a lawyer presenting the most darning of evidence. One car, one motorcycle, one spaceship. I was floored. My jaw hit the ground. I'd just been bamboozled by someone that refers to Bruce Banner's alter ego as Mahulk. We bought 3 Hot Wheels that day. I feel like you definitely could have been a bit more of a stickler and said, "Well, I only said one thing altogether regardless, whether it's a car or not," but I'm glad that the father actually encouraged his creative thinking. And let's be real, $3 for some toys for a kid is a pretty good bargain compared to the price of some toys these days. And our final story of the day is by Little Miss Bunny Woman. Karen gets a free ride, but won't buckle up, enjoys a nice taxi ride home. This was a few years ago, roughly 4. I worked at an office about a 45-minute drive from my house, and I had a friend who worked in the office I would give a ride home to as it was on my way. I literally had to pass by her house to go to and from work, so it was no big deal. Well, the woman who worked in my office lived really close to her and found out about the arrangement and wanted in. She guilted my friend into asking me. Since it was on my way, I said okay. Well, at the same time, my late husband's car was in the shop, so I would make a detour to pick him up, and he's a giant of a man, 6'3", and could not physically fit in the back. So to make things easier, my friend would just sit in the back. Well, the other woman, known as Karen, was a big woman, not tall, but big. So on the way home, literally the first time, she starts getting in the front. I explained to her she has to sit in the back. Well, we get to my husband's job site, and I park and text. She jumps out of the car and gets into the front. I tell her to go back, and she straight up says no because the seatbelt in the back is too tight. It hurts her chest. I tell her it's too bad. She can get out if she doesn't like it. Well, she gets out and goes to the back seat. My husband gets there and climbs in. I start the car, and the seatbelt warning light is on and beeping. She has the seatbelt off. I say, "You need to put the seatbelt on." I'm met with a, "No, I can't. It's easier if she's in front." Well, I say, "You're in the back. We're not going anywhere until the belt is on." She crossed her arms like a child and says, "I guess we're not going anywhere." I tell her if she doesn't put the belt on, she can get out and walk home. With a nice bit of snark, she says, "Well, you better call me a taxi." That pissed me off, and that's what I did. I called a taxi. She puts her belt back on, but I say it's too late. "Get out, you have a taxi coming." I say, "You can get out of my car now, or the police will be happy to remove you." She gets out, and her jaw almost hits the road as I drove away. Outside my friend, I never let anyone from work in my car again. Don't you hate that out of the kindness of your heart, you're willing to spare this person from having to spend money on gas or transport of any kind, and you're met with all this pickiness and hostility and childlike behavior? I agree with OP. Sorry to anyone else, but this is an absolute deal killer for taking anybody else along. Just OP, their husband, and their one friend. But with that being said, that's a wrap on another bunch of stories here today. As always, if you guys have any favorite videos of this bunch, let me know which one in the comments down below and why. And if you enjoyed the stories in general, if you could subscribe to this channel, it'd mean a lot to me. I make these videos daily, and it's by far and away the best way to support my channel. So no matter what you did, whether it was subscribing or liking, leaving a comment, I just appreciate the heck out of you guys. And as always, I'll be back tomorrow with even more stories right here on the Storytime channel.